Hey friends, this is Dolynny TV. Glad to have you aboard here this afternoon. This evening, actually, as we almost transition to 6 o'clock. By the time this video is uploaded and done and dusted for your viewing, thank you for being aboard. I want to say a huge thank you to you personally for helping me hit 18,000 subscribers here on YouTube. Nice little milestone to get to work to this morning. And of course, that means one thing, my little milestone up and done and dusted. So if you're new to the channel and you don't know about the Oilers fanatic as well, or you just are a regular viewer here on Dolynny TV and haven't checked out Patrick over at the Oilers fanatic, I encourage you to go over there today. Search him up. He's really easy to find. Obviously the best name in the whole business, I'd say. And basically go out there and check him out and hit a subscribe for him as well as he pushes 10,000. All right, did anything important happen today? Do we need to talk about anything? Did absolutely anything happen for the Oilers? Yes, it did. So let's not waste any more time. Like I'm talking about, if you are new to the channel, also consider subscribing right here on Dolynny TV. That would be greatly appreciated. This one, buckle up. You can already see by clicking on it, is going to be a long one. So just stay tuned. Bear with me. Lots of news coming out of Kris Knoblauch's introductory press conference for his new coaches today. So what we know is we have 3 new coaches today. Paul McFarland, Peter Aubry, and of course Connor Allen joined the team. Mark Stewart is retained, and what happens is the Oilers actually reduce the bench staff by 1 whole coach. Something that I don't know if everybody was expecting, but it is indeed something that happens. And for the Oilers, maybe a good idea to kind of start centralizing things just a little bit now that, of course, Kris Knoblauch is at the height of his powers, back-to-back Cup finals. The first coach to do that in his first 2 years coaching since Stan's dad back in the day. So keep that in mind there. So we go over to the next situation, which is I want to talk quickly on Woodley there on Sports 1440, talking about Mr. Peter Aubry as well, this is good news for us, as I've heard a lot of good things when he was in Chicago and was going to be the next guy in line, but that changed with the new regime. Obviously, we know everything that happened and how Stan Bowman ended up with the Oilers and all that, so we get it. Guys who worked with him told me he is a genuinely good guy, good emotional and empathy skills, and a curious goalie mind who is always looking at other goalies and what works. So here's the problem for the Oilers, is that's all fine and dandy. You just need results. That is the only thing that Dustin Schwartz will truly ever be, measured upon. And that's the only thing truly that anybody, especially if the Oilers stick with Stuart Skinner and Calvin Pickard, that is the only thing that anyone will measure the Oilers and their goaltender coach, Peter Aubry, the new guy, on at the end of the day, whether it be this season, next season, or however long he's around with the organization. So that is one thing to keep in mind. Is it's great to talk about now, but we need to see what happens. So what of Paul Coffey? Well, he's not gone from the organization. In fact, he is going right back where he was. Paul Coffey was, a guy who was kind of placed on the bench to help along Mr. Kris Knoblauch in his early days in Edmonton. Ended up riding out 2 more Stanley Cup finals on an Oilers bench. That guy's been to probably the record-breaking amount of Stanley Cup finals for an Edmonton Oilers, anything, player, coach, whatever. Probably up there with a couple of other guys you could kind of name if you're really going to get fancy with it. But he returns to his previous role alongside Mr. Cates as a special advisor, I think it is. I don't think it's senior advisor. I believe it's special advisor, kind of hockey operations as well, kind of the conduit really between Daryl Cates and, of course, the Edmonton Oilers hockey business. So, you know what? Paul Coffey gone, but not gone for good. He's just gone from the bench. That's all you need to know there. So the coaching process, how this breaks down, like I said, there is a kind of a role consolidation here on the bench for the Oilers this offseason. McFarland takes over the power play from Glenn Gulutzan. Mark Stewart takes over the defense from Paul Coffey while also retaining the penalty kill. We'll have more on that in a minute. And then Aubry obviously takes over the goalies coach position from Dustin Schwartz. What you need to know, though, is flashback over here. We heard something about Connor Allen. I just didn't have enough room on that slide to make it happen. Connor Allen is the skills coach for the Edmonton Oilers. I'll have more on that in just a second if you bear with me. A lot of slides to get through today. So what we know for this one, we don't need to do that because I've already confirmed it. So basically this is the one about Connor Allen right here. The coaching process for the Oilers with Allen will be an eye in the sky, but take in road trips. So Connor Allen will not just be a stay-at-home coach. He will be on the road with the Oilers, working day in, day out with the players on an individual basis. That, of course, is a huge thing to hear. Again, we know David Peltier was the skating coach, but in terms of really developing the individual player skill, maybe the Oilers starting to take aim at that. We know Callie Larson's got some role in that as well on a more minor league level for the Oilers, so keep that in mind there. As we go to the goalie department, which was a question asked to Kris Knoblauch, it's in the process, whether it's in preliminary stage, idea stage, whatever. Kris Knoblauch notes that that's more of a Stan Bowman thing and that he is working on something along those lines or something at least similar. So that is where we have to keep that going for right now. We move forward. Not really much left in the video here other than some ideas and some roster updates. So basically, to kind of give you an idea of the timeline on all this, this is the other side too. Talks really began for Knoblauch on a contract extension earlier this offseason, but kind of stalled out due to obviously having to hire this bench. So what you have to know as well is there have been at least talks. This is some confirmation we got from Kris himself about a contract extension with the Oilers, and at least from Knoblauch's point of view, he wants to be here long term, and it sounds like the Oilers are at least interested in making that happen. So what we also need to do is talk about this here. Missed this one earlier, and that would be from Kris Knoblauch and Mark Stewart on a penalty kill front. A new look penalty kill is coming for the Oilers. You'll see in a moment why I'm saying decisions to be made still, because there's a little bit happening behind the scenes for the Oilers in terms of player functionality and, of course, player capability within the whole roster. And that's where it gets really interesting for the Oilers, is trying to figure out who does what and who fits where. As this one right here from Knoblauch, just to kind of summarize it. And in his interview today, Knoblauch notes the Oilers have a lot of unknowns within the roster, but also a lot of options. Guys that can play center, guys that can play wing, guys that can do both, guys that can play on their offhand. And that really helps out the Oilers when it comes to constructing a better penalty kill, a better power play, a better 5-on-5 team. And you look at this here. This was also noted that special teams will likely see change with new guys getting looks, right? A development, hopefully, of a second power play unit capable of taking a full shift instead of what we normally see, the 20-25 seconds at the end of every 2-minute power play. And for, Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, saving those miles to the end of the days there in the Stanley Cup final could be absolutely critical, especially with new guys like Matt Savoy, David Tomaszek. You got a guy like Ike Howard in the lineup as well coming up this year. So there's tons that could be happening there. And just to talk on some other guys as well, Curtis Lazar and David Tomaszek here. Lazar is a right-handed center that noted to Kris Knoblauch on his entry to the team that he actually feels like he plays really well on left wing. So that's good news for the Oilers, that they might be able to offhand a guy over to left wing if they want to get creative with a 22-23 man roster. And of course, penalty kill. And that's the big thing here, where, Tomaszek, maybe we don't know what he's going to do right out of the gate, but Kris Knoblauch noting as well in today's press conference that there will be plenty of time given to the guys who need it to A, settle in, and B, find their footing and roll with the team during training camp. And where that is, and where I want to sound off on that here a little bit today, is just simply, sorry, I got to delete all those. Simply for me, looking at this team last year, they had no direction, no urgency in the preseason. So for the Oilers to come in, now in July, talking about kind of how they're going to work through things in the preseason, the coaches obviously are going to come in a little bit nervous and trying to adjust to the team and learn the players and become better off, there's going to be a lot of work put into the preseason. And what the Oilers might have learned, especially with, of course, Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl and the leadership core that this team is driven by, with Nugent Hopkins, Hyman, and Nurse and Ekholm as well, is simply for this team, you're okay if you start 500 through the first 10, 15 games. As a fan, that's not okay. Like, this team should be good enough out of the gate. But if from an organizational standpoint, if you need a little bit to wet your feet into the NHL season, as you've done the past 2 years and ended up in the Cup final, as long as you're staying with the pack, not falling behind the pack, you will be just fine at the end of the day. Now, the Oilers obviously hoping for a different story post, February 15th this year, where they're able to go out there and kind of, dominate towards the trade deadline, dominate post-trade deadline, as opposed to rehab injuries and just float through the rest of the regular season and very much so just barely make the playoffs with, hopefully nobody getting hot at the end. So for the Oilers, there's a ton to work through here. New coaches, new players, new roster alignment, new penalty kill, new everything that's possible to them. But this is where the excitement builds in, is this is a team that, again, is being built specifically to tackle the challenges that we faced the last 2 years, right? This is no longer, you can say we're running it back with the same guys in net, but that's no longer even part of the equation. The defense, really the only thing that remains unchanged, with a new goalie coach at minimum coming in. The forward group, again, changed heavily from the year previous, but in a different way to try and tweak things back to a different look for Florida for a second year in a row. And again, you assume you're playing Florida in the Cup final because every Florida Panthers fan is automatically giving them a berth to the Stanley Cup final based on winning this past one. But again, you just also know you have to be the most dominant, capable team you possibly can be. And while, surviving injuries and having roster flexibility is a big part of it, also having a different game plan that maybe opponents that you faced before that you might have to face again haven't seen yet is always a good idea as well, as long as you know how to execute it to a recipe that wins. So friends, thank you so much for being aboard here today. Like I said, it was going to be a long one. I didn't expect quite 12 minutes. I was thinking we'd be tapped out at 10, and then I started that little rant here at the end. But I really do appreciate you being aboard. As I said right off the hop to start the video, please go over to the Oilers Fanatic this evening and go hit that subscribe button. That would mean a ton to me here tonight, as obviously Patrick closing in just shy of 100 subscribers away from 9,500, which means then it's that mad dash to 10,000. So if you can be a part of that, that would be greatly appreciated. For right now, friends, I'm going to go eat dinner. I hope you do too. Enjoy it. Hey, it might be boneless wing night somewhere on the menu. Go enjoy that if you don't already have dinner plans. And for now, I'm up on out of here.